Bitcoin is at a point right now where when we've been here before and we managed to push just a little bit more, Bitcoin triggered massive bull runs. I'm going to show you a few of them in this video, along with some really interesting banking data, guys. Deposits are just coming out of banks very, very quickly. First, let's take a look at Bitcoin. Absolutely nothing has happened, which is the best thing that could have happened because we have support that keeps getting higher. As time goes on, up until basically tomorrow or the next 2 days, our Ichimoku support keeps rising up and getting closer and closer to the current price. We have now managed to find another bounce off this level. This looks like it's sleeping. This looks like it's not doing much. Believe me, ladies and gents, you do not want to be taking your eyes off the market right now. Something big is about to happen. We have the perfect setup for it. Everything that usually leads to a big explosion, either to the upside or downside, and I'm still expecting more to the upside. Everything that usually leads to that kind of explosion is still present right now. So I'm loving what I'm seeing. Now, if we move this over to the EMA ribbon as well, on the 4-hour time frame, unfortunately, we don't have a spread. Daily time frame, though, this is huge, right? Like I said, you know, I've been talking to you guys a lot about this indicator on this YouTube channel. Just like back here, I was talking to you about how, look, EMA ribbon's catching up, right? Soon this is going to hit the price. Look at where we are right now. If yesterday's candle managed to fall just a little bit lower, we would have fallen directly into the EMA ribbon. This is the perfect example of what we were going to see, where the price holds a key level, consolidates at resistance, one of the most bullish things we can do while support keeps coming up, marching forward, getting ready to send us flying high again. I'm absolutely loving what I'm seeing. I'm going to be covering these really, really big price targets with you in just a second, but before we do that as well, I do want to take a quick look at the 4Flies dashboard and show you what I'm seeing with the long and short ratio. We're still seeing majority shorts across pretty much oh, my bad. No. We're majority long right now. My bad. We're majority long on Binance for retail, and for top traders, Bybit remains majority short. So that's an interesting change right there. We'll see how this develops. Fear and Greed Index did manage to drop by a little bit, but not by much. And the dollar continues to slide down. So we'll talk about all of that in just a second. But what I want to show you is this chart right here. And this chart is essentially just, let me make sure I get this right, the 20, 25 and 35 exponential moving averages, okay, EMAs, and it's basically the exact same as what I had on this chart, but I've just got less lines, okay. I'm just taking the quicker moving averages, not the slower ones, and what I want to show you is that every time Bitcoin managed to pump above these ribbons, almost regardless of if there's a spread or not, it triggered really big bull runs in the last few occasions, right? And granted, there were only 3 instances where this happened on the monthly time frame. We're on the monthly chart right here, but what we got here back at the end of 2015 was a massive rally that ended up taking Bitcoin 6,300% higher. It's an insane gain. It's hard to even comprehend. The next time it happened wasn't so crazy, but we still managed to go up by 180%. And the next time after that, this was the COVID crash of 2020, we managed to push up by 756%, or a little bit higher if you count our real all-time high. Now, if we take this move up to give us a measured move to the upside, we could take the 180% move. That's basically meaning that Bitcoin triples in value, which, you know, right now, if we did that, that would take Bitcoin from roughly 30k up to roughly 90k, right? Something a little bit like that, probably more closer to 70, so roughly around our all-time high. If we take the move that happened in the middle of this and this, you know, this is 750%. If we ended up managing to pull a move like that, we'd be looking at a $250,000 Bitcoin, which, you know what? Look, here's an interesting bit of data that I want to show you, okay? This is not something that, you know, I necessarily expected to see, and I'm surprised in 2 ways. I'll tell you why I'm surprised. If we take a look at this data real quick, this is the deposits in all commercial banks within the United States, and it's really interesting. These are huge numbers, okay? We're looking at billions of US dollars, and then it's measured in thousands of those, so basically trillions and trillions of dollars displayed on this chart. And really all this is showing us is how deposits among banks in the United States have basically grown over time, but then also more recently how it's really, you know, I mean, look, this is where the money printing happened, right? This is early 2020, you know, first half of 2020, money printing is going crazy. Everyone's getting their stimulus checks and stuff like that, so bank deposits are shooting up. you can literally see inflation happening right here. But you know, since basically you know, summer of last year, we've been seeing people really taking their money out of banks, and especially if we bring this even closer to the present day, we're looking at quite a big dip here from a high of 18,000 billions of dollars in banks. It's such a crazy number, to 17.3 thousand. That's 800,000 billions. That's such a, I'm sorry, that's 800. Yeah, no, that is, yeah, 800. I'm so bad at reading these numbers. They're so big. 800 billions that have been removed from banks. Which, you know, there's two things to this. First of all, my first thought when I saw this was actually, this really isn't that much, right? We're not actually seeing that much money leave the banks. But then my second thought was, hang on a minute, look at this chart. Like, when is the last time we've seen money like actually leave banks? Like, there's this right here. We go from 4.6 down to 4.6, basically nothing really. You know, there's this up here. We go from a high of like 7.1 down to just 7. When we don't really see particularly big drops. But this is hundreds of billions of dollars leaving, you know, the banking system. That, you know, I mean, this just hasn't happened before, right? Look at these big drops here, 935 down to 900 and down to 890, right? We're only losing like $30 billion. Really, nothing that crazy, I think. You know, particularly, you know, previously, but this is huge, right? And so if you're, you know, if you're one of the diehard believers of crypto, then you're gonna know that, you know, one of the big things Bitcoin was made for was to replace banks and stuff like that. And if we're starting to see Bitcoin absolutely rocket up in general while banks are suffering, right? Here's an interesting chart to take a look at. Let me show you something, you know, to do with our banks right here. If we're looking at, you know, banks collapsing, I mean, banks literally dropping like dead flies. You know, we've got the Silvergate collapse, the SVB collapse, the Credit Suisse collapse, all happening within the space of a week or two, all happening at the same time that Bitcoin skyrockets. If this is the situation that we're in right now, where deposits in banks are falling, banks are failing, and Bitcoin is rising with gold, well then, this is potentially a really big turning point. It could turn out to be something that ends up getting saved, right? The Fed steps in, US government prints a lot of money, banks are saved, everything's fine, we kick the can further down the road. That is literally the entire game of what politicians play from start to finish. We don't see anything different. This is the only thing in the world that we see with politicians, so it's probably what we're going to see right now, right? Look, I'm a trader. I have to be a realist, right? I want to say that Bitcoin's going to 200K. I want to say that Bitcoin's going to 10 million, whatever. That's fun for me. I'm going to make a lot of money. But at the end of the day, I've got to stay realistic. And this is probably just going to, you know, get kicked further down the road, which only means that, you know, when this actually comes into fruition, if it does, because nothing is guaranteed, that we're probably going to see something even more explosive. But if you are of that opinion, you know, well, then this is huge information. This is a really, really big deal, showing us that we are potentially on the cusp of a really big breakout. And the kind of positions we can play here are very impressive, right? Because if we actually start to take some measured moves here, taking a look at what we're actually doing here, you know, what I want to do is just kind of draw the height of this move, and then just show you what this would look like if we reproduce the exact same move again. This is generally a pretty reliable way to actually forecast where the market might go, more reliable than you might think, because if we actually take a look at the same measured move from this low up to this high, you know, we're gonna see that we pull somewhat similar moves, right? If you look at the high of this line, it basically comes right at, you know, Bitcoin's current high right here, right? Obviously, I've got to change. I'm keeping the same height. I'm just changing the way the line is drawn. You can see that actually it's very... Look, I can drop a horizontal line. It's really interesting how it works, right? We're on the linear chart as well, so nothing's being taken out of perspective here. We just draw this line up, and then we look at what our pump looks like. Very, very similar target, right? So if we just kind of drag this line higher again to give us another measured move, very, very similar. Very similar. Everything kind of works the same, right? It's an interesting... You don't really see it until somebody draws it with lines like this, but when the market moves up in ways like this, you can generally just kind of, you know, drag a line that you draw and then put it where we previously moved up, and you'll see generally a very similar bit of price action takes place. It's not exact. We're not there exactly. We're about 4% off, but it's close enough to be pretty damn accurate. And so that gives us a target in the high $40,000 range. And What I think is really cool right now is, again, it's just the fact that Bybit is offering you guys so much free money to trade anything you like in these markets. Bybit will give you up to $30,000 depending on what you deposit into your account and start trading with, which you can just trade with for free. It's completely free trading ammunition, and if you think something like this is going to happen, you can put your money behind it. You can put free money behind it and just potentially run up a 35% gain, right? If you manage to put a little bit of leverage behind this, right? Like 5 times leverage at a gain like this will give you a 150% profit. That means whatever you put in multiplies by 2.5x. If you put in 10K, you get 25K out. If you put in 30K, you get 45K out. You know, and that 30K would be given to you completely free of charge by Bybit. So check it out. If you don't already have it, it's because you haven't deposited your money and started to trade. You literally just need to do that, and then once you get your bonus, you can withdraw your money anyway. Super easy, super quick to get access to free money in this market. If anyone could just hand you money on a table, you would definitely take it, and this is Bybit doing that. Very straightforward and cool. So definitely take advantage of that if it's something you think you'd be interested in. But moving back to the ideas of the video here, if we are looking at one of these, you know, bigger collapses in banks and stuff like that, well, you know, these measured moves start looking very impressive, right? You might not necessarily subscribe to a $250,000 Bitcoin happening anytime soon, right? It's definitely a fun idea, but you know what, it may not happen. If it does, by the way, it would still take more than a year, and it would lead us directly into the halving, which I think is, you know, not surprising whatsoever. I mean, you know, when the halving comes, generally we tend to see really big, quite explosive and fun price action. So I think that is something which is worth keeping in mind. You know, but at the very same time, here's another chart that I want to show you just on some more short-term analysis, you know, which also shows us something similar, where we've got more measured moves potentially getting ready to take place in this market. Let's actually go ahead and show it to you on this page right here. We've got this ascending triangle, and it's not the first time that I brought this ascending triangle to your attention, but you know, it is the first time that I'm showing it to you in some you know, quite serious capacity, where we've got a potential 18% pump here that actually took place previously. If you manage to do that again, that puts us up at $34,000, and we are still in this pattern. Now this is interesting, right? Because Bitcoin, there's not a whole lot that you can read into this price action generally, right? Like, it's just a bit of a weird range. It's basically just sideways. You can't really say that much more about it. But if you take a look at it from this perspective, where we zoom in onto the 4-hour time frame, you can actually start to see that we're holding lows. Our lows were getting higher while we're keeping the same ceiling. This is important because it's showing us that, like, we want to read between the lines a little bit, right? Like, the market is moving up. Look, I mean, yeah, that's obvious. The market has moved up. We've consolidated. It's bullish. I mean, you know, if you've read page 1 of chapter 1 of any fucking TA book, you're gonna know this. It's super standard. Nothing here is complicated. But what we've got here, if we start to zoom in and read between the lines, is like, okay, that's the more macro view, where the market has moved up, we've consolidated, we're probably in an uptrend, so we'll move up again. Basic TA. That's what this whole channel is based off, right? I don't actually do anything particularly complicated on this channel, but if we then zoom in and look at the micro is also telling us that we're poised to rise up. Doesn't mean we have to. It only means that there's a 66% chance. When we form these kind of patterns, there's a 66% chance that we break up. That's not a 100% chance. It's only a little bit above 50%. It's not that crazy, but it's definitely a good, you know, good set of chances in my opinion, right? It's definitely something that I feel fairly confident in anyway, you know, especially because of the way the market has just been showing us that, like, I mean, you know, dollar has been dropping. We know that very clearly. S&P 500 has been rising. You know, we are in a little bit of a pullback today. We're finding resistance exactly where we'd expect, but this is only a little bit of exhaustion in my opinion, right? I mean, I'm not seeing anything particularly harmful. It just looks like the market is a little bit exhausted here. You know, it's ran up for many candles consecutively. I spoke to you about that in yesterday's video, which you would have watched if you were subscribed to the channel, so shout out to you guys. But take a look at gold. We're up at 2020. We've got the real breakout. This is the exact breakout that I was speaking to you guys about. I even had a long position outlined here. I didn't end up entering it, unfortunately, but take a look at the numbers. This is actually basically the target. I mean, the target is unlimited. I'm targeting $3,000, but you know, the stop loss here is what's important. This would have come into play really nicely. I'm a little bit sour that I didn't get to take it, but I have been warning you guys in every fucking video that I'm really bullish on gold. Now, are we gonna get a pullback? I mean, that's kind of the next play here. I definitely would like a pullback. I don't know if I'm gonna get one, but you know, I am seeing this range here looking, you know, something a little bit like this. right? And so, you know, potentially, you know, now that we've broken that area of resistance, maybe coming back down for a back test, that's really my only hope now. But again, it's seeing that gold is moving up. You know, it dragged Bitcoin up originally. Today, okay, Bitcoin isn't really doing anything while gold is in a really nice, you know, bullish candle today. But that doesn't mean it's going to stay that way, right? I think Bitcoin's just kind of lagging behind a little bit. I'm certainly not concerned about it whatsoever. And if we look at the dollar index, it's just continuing to slide lower. You know, if we lose this green box, we're going to have a big drop until the next support, which is probably going to be around 97 on this chart, which isn't actually that big. It's not that huge of a drop anyway, but with the circumstances we're in right now, where a weaker dollar results in, you know, indices like the S&P 500, commodities like gold, and just very speculative assets like Bitcoin going up, in this kind of environment, if the dollar does keep on dropping, this means a rocket ship for crypto. You know, I really can't stress this enough. I'm just not, like, I just don't see why I should be super bearish right now. You know, like, other than the fact that Bitcoin is at resistance, which is an incredibly strong reason, an incredibly good reason to be bearish. Don't get me wrong, definitely the right kind of reason to be bearish. Other than that, absolutely everything else I'm seeing, almost absolutely everything I'm seeing is pointing towards the price continuing to rise up. And here's something else that I want to show you. This is another chart that I briefly covered with you on this YouTube channel previously. So again, those of you that are regular viewers, you're going to be getting access to all of this. Actually, before I show this to you, I want to very quickly bring you onto this channel. This is actually linked in the description of any of my YouTube videos. If you just go to the description and just look at the very first link here, it's called 𝐻𝐻𝐹𝐿𝑦s Daily. If you click on this link, it's going to take you to my brand new YouTube channel where I'm going to be putting out daily analysis on coins. So right now, you know, I'm just letting you guys know about it. I haven't actually started posting to it yet, but if it's something that you're interested in, go ahead and check it out. While you're down there, Bybit link for your $30,000 is right there. And if you want to join 𝐻𝐻𝐹𝐿𝑦s VIP for free, I'm sorry, for 50% off, you can follow these links right here. You can just message me directly, or you can join my free Telegram channel first, where you get more analysis for myself and my team completely free of charge. But moving on to this chart here, this is really, really interesting. It's the same thing that I spoke to you about again in yesterday's video, where Bitcoin loves to form these patterns where we pump up and then just kind of slowly keep pumping up, and then we pump up quickly again, right? So quick pump followed by a small pump followed by a really quick pump. I actually traded this move, this exact move around here. Maybe it was down here, because we had the exact same pattern here. You just can't really see it on the monthly. Is this monthly? No, this is 5-day chart. You just can't really see it on the 5-day chart, but we had the exact same move over here, and I traded it up for like a 300-400% profit. Same thing around over here. I traded this move up for a 300-400% profit, and I've done the same thing here. I've traded this move up for a 300-400% profit, but the difference is I'm still in this position, and these are the same setups that Bitcoin had previously to pump up really high. Now, I want to be very clear with you. There have been situations where we've done something like this, and it did not have a happy ending, right? Here's an example right here where Bitcoin pumped up fairly quickly and then did exactly the same thing as right now, but it did not result in continued upward price action. I can probably find a lot of examples where this has happened, you know, in this market. So I don't want you guys to be getting a false sense of confidence with the analysis that I'm giving you here. It is also my duty to poke holes in my own analysis, because I'm a trader. I'm putting real money behind these markets, so I can't fuck this up by having a heavy bias in the market. That's really, really important. But at the same time here, we do have the same setup that Bitcoin has used continuously throughout history, and more recently as well, Bitcoin has been using this pattern, you know, just generally to manage to pull off some of these really impressive breakouts that Bitcoin has managed to pull off, right? And I've shown you quite a few of these. If we look backwards, right, we've got great examples of it here again, where, you know, we're basically, I don't know why I can't click right now, but we're basically looking at a big move up followed by a small one followed by a big one. Again here, relatively big move up followed by a small one followed by a big one. It's the same setup that Bitcoin keeps on reproducing, and we have it again on this chart with the long-term setup. So to me, this also looks very compelling. Now, is it possible that we just kind of wick out and fall down before pumping up again? Absolutely. That kind of thing is very typical for Bitcoin. I've been saying in all of my recent videos, that is Bitcoin's love language, right? That it's going to screw up, it's going to screw over the people who are bullish, it's going to screw over the people who are bearish, and then it will be bullish again. Very, very typical. Not saying that that's definitely going to happen, but you know, the probabilities, you know, for Bitcoin to do something like that are higher than we might want to believe. I also want to bring this to your attention just before I round off the video. This is 𝗙𝗥. This is a caffeinated chewing gum. It's available to those of you that are watching this from the UK. I cannot click anything for some reason. I have no idea why this isn't working. Go ahead and check it out. Just 𝗙𝗥gum.com. 𝗙𝗢𝗥𝐾 gum.com. Caffeinated chewing gum, literally just replaces an energy drink. Fits in your pocket, super cool, well worth checking out. If you want to jump into VIP, follow these steps on screen and check out the link for Bybit in the description down below to get your $30,000 in trading bonuses. And OKX has also restarted their campaign, so you can get up to 20k in rewards by following the link to OKX. So you got up to 57k in bonuses in the description down below if you follow the links I've got there, so definitely check that out if that's something you're interested in. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.